call the meeting to order. I'd ask the superintendent to lead us in the pledge and the prayer.
Father, just thank you, Lord, for your grace and mercy. Just thank you, Lord, for the blessings that you bountifully flowed and just given us, Lord. We just thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be here tonight, to be here to serve, Lord, to be able to make decisions that are best for our students, teachers, and staff. And just we ask always for your wisdom and guidance in the decisions that we have to make. And always ask, Lord, that may everything that we say and everything that we do honor and please you. We ask in Christ's name.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Item C is our board reorganization. This time I'd like to pass the gavel to the superintendent to conduct the reorganization of the board.
Okay. I am now asking for nominations for chair.
I nominate Ms. Perkins.
Do we have any further nominations? If none, nomination cease. And call for the vote.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? All right. Ms. Perkins to the chair. Okay. And at this time, I will take the nomination for vice chair.
Nominate Chris Coward.
The nomination cease.
Okay. All right. If there are no further nominations, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All opposed? Mr. Coward. And at this time, let's go ahead and move around.
Move around.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to set the times for meetings.
Continue on with the second and fourth. Move we continue on with the second and fourth.
Okay, and the second, and the first meeting, which is on the second, will be at 6 p.m. And the fourth will be at 9 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion.
Yes, he made
Yes.
a motion.
We have a
Yes.
motion, we have a second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
That's back. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you very, very much. But before we go on, I just really want to thank Mr. Etheridge. He has been an excellent chair. He does a terrific job. He has got a great personality and wonderful remarks, and I just hope that I can do a good job like he's done, and we truly appreciate everything that he's done. He has been a fantastic chair, so thank you very much. Okay, before we go on with our agenda and adopt that, for good cause, I would like to ask that the agenda be amended as followed. Postpone item F, update on Florida Farm to School Conference on the December 10th meeting, and re-advertise the remainder of the agenda. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda as requested?
So, second.
Second, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So we'll organize that. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So,
I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. At this time, I would like to welcome all of our visitors. Anybody want to address the board? Sweet. Thank you all for coming tonight. We are so glad to have you. We will move to item F, review of our advertised school board policies. Mr. Lott.
Okay. We've previously introduced all of these to the board. We did have one proposed edit since our first introduction, and that should be inside the front of your folder, and that would be board policy 6.042, recording misconduct. This edit came to us courtesy of our board attorney who felt like we need to be a little more specific into who we reported to. So the edit should be in your front cover, Mr. Covey.
Edit one is in your front cover here on the left, and this edit came after we printed these, and that's why it's like that, so you can see.
So you can see what we had, what we had originally is in your packet, in your folder, and then this one is just loose, and this is the proposal. So our board attorney, Mr. Laney, said that we thought that it would be better if we were a little more specific on who we're asking people to report to, and so we've spelled that language out. The only thing that was edited was that very first circled portion, so that would be, the section 1A, and we've just added some more specific language there.
So we're asking our employees, if they see something, they should report it to the superintendent and DCO?
Right, and if I may, Madam Chair, to address that question.
Yes.
Everybody in this room, every adult in Florida is a mandatory report. We're in the post-Penn State, Sandusky world, and a lot of those laws are remembered that way. So we're all legally obligated to call DCF. So people sometimes get confused about what's a mandatory reporter. We're all mandatory reporters, but teachers, physicians, counselors, folks like that, not only must they report, but they also have to give their name. I think it's important for our staff to understand, in looking at our policies, that if they see something that amounts to abuse or neglect, they need that extra nudge or reminder that it's not only the law in Florida, but it's also the policy of the district, that we want to make sure that that report happens. I think having the statute included would be kind of a red flag and get everybody's attention.
And this specific misconduct comes to me is alleged misconduct by employees.
And that's, there are a number of cases around the state, particularly involving special education classrooms, not in Levy County, but in other school districts that I think language like this would have been helpful and probably could have averted a lot of problems.
Okay.
Now, why would this not go to the principal before it would go to the superintendent? I mean, the principal would go to the superintendent.
They were discussed with me, eventually.
Eventually, I understand, but immediately, the employee at the school would go to their principal.
Perfectly appropriate to do that, and I think how the school district has been operating is that the superintendent has designated your work site supervisor, basically the principal, as being the person who should get that first report. So I think the superintendent or designee captures what our past practice has been.
Yeah, new language on here, if you look here, the new language is that for us to ensure that it gets reported to the Department of Children and Families.
Gotcha.
That's the new language.
John, can you tell me that policy number?
6.0.
6.042.
Yeah, all their little tab here, and all the other tabs, we'll take through.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
This is the proposed changes.
And Madam Chair, there have been instances, again, not in Levy County, but in other counties around the state, where employees have felt like they had tried to tell their campus principal, or they had tried to report it somewhere and just didn't really feel like the report went anywhere. So I think this policy makes it clear that some serious misconduct like that needs to get to the attention of the superintendent. Now, the superintendent may say, it's also appropriate, and you should talk to your campus principal, but if that doesn't go anywhere, our employees should understand they can pipeline this directly to the superintendent if they need to. So we don't have employees say, well, I tried to tell my principal and they weren't interested, or they were friends with the person who was doing it, or whatever it might be. I think it's important that the superintendent be aware of these types of incidents.
In this day and age, I think it's good. How will we make sure, so with this change in the policy, that we'll communicate that to staff? That way they know so that there are consequences if they don't. So,
Well, those changes of policy like this would be put into the employee handbook and also, gone over by the school administrators at that level, so that they understand what that means.
And they're already required to report. They are required by statute right now to report children and families,
gotcha.
okay? And so what we're
We
asking,
just didn't have it in policy.
well, it's always in the state statute that they do have to,
Gotcha.
and, right.
So is that proposed edit acceptable with the board, I guess is the first thing we need to ascertain here.
I really, designee, I understand that and I agree with that, but, principal who answers to the superintendent, or supervisor here, administrator, it just looks like, when you read it, you just go straight to the superintendent. And of course, yes, the Department of Children and Families, that's what everybody should know, but,
So,
right, just glancing at it, it looks like you just call the superintendent about, a day-to-day operations when that's not his responsibility, the day-to-day, everything. That's the way I see it.
But see, there's gonna be, we'll put out a way to do this, and be quite honest with you, it's gonna come to the personnel department first.
Right,
That's
right, it
what
would
I'm
go, right.
And so, and then she'll let me know when we can, but it's gonna come to personnel.
Mhm.
so I'm gonna be correct, Ms. Brookins, but the red is the change, right?
Yes,
So in B, where it says instructional personnel and school administrators shall report alleged misconduct of other instructional personnel to school administrators
yes,
who engage, right?
okay. Yeah, I agree. I like the school administrators, and that's a change, so thank you. Yes.
That's to deal with employees, not the city.
Is it going to be made very clear to employees that they're required to do 2 reports then? Or the disciplinary action can happen?
That's always, that,
I mean, I know we always make that call. That's
Yeah,
a call you
yes,
make on your own. That's not
That is
something you
always
have to
right.
have anybody tell you it's okay to do.
yeah, that is something that we have to do the code of ethics training every year,
Okay?
and that is covered in the code of ethics training.
That was gonna be my next question. So a teacher sees something with a kid or whatever, or maybe they have a premonition that something's going on, and they make that phone call to DCF, okay? What would be, like, if they didn't, let's say they got busy, they're doing their class, what's our time frame, or is there a time frame that they need to let the designee or superintendent know that they've called DCF, so,
I mean, we don't have that in the policy, but in the working document, we will have that. It's generally within that day or 24 hours.
I just want to make sure that we communicate clearly to our,
We would think 2 weeks would be too much,
right,
you know,
so,
but it's certainly as soon as possible.
I mean, obviously, we all want to err on the side of caution, so, but we also know that if each one of us, as soon as something like that happens, that we make that call, that way that it can go up and follow the chain of command to let them know, so we know that there's an issue, so.
Can you talk about the mandatory training that we have to take?
Yes, every new teacher has to take a 1-hour course. It's online. It's from DCF, and we are required at the beginning of every school year to go ahead and do an update training for all of our staff. So those 2 things are put in place. We also keep track of that in personnel who has taken that 1-hour course. If there's anybody that hasn't, we remind the principal to make sure that that happens. And also related to what you were talking about here, an employee calls me, and administrators call me, like if somebody comes to them and says, I saw this or this happened, immediately they're on the phone with us. And we might get the phone call coming to work, we might get it in the middle, in the evening. They're really good to just immediately pick up that phone because of the training. And we started that last year, really focusing in on making sure that DCF.
I guess the communication piece is, I think, really valuable, knowing that, us, you guys, administrators, teachers, whatever, you know, an issue arises, but they don't know, just to make sure that it's communicated to everybody, so we can't do anything about something if we don't know.
I also covered that in my new employee orientation. I covered that, that's one of the things we really focus on during that training, too, so that every new employee knows.
I think it's a wonderful addition, and appreciate it.
So will that
Counselor.
stipulate how they're going to report? Is that an email, is that a phone call, what is that?
They can send an email, they can do a phone call, they can actually go online or report something online.
I mean, to the superintendent.
Oh, it can be any of the above.
So as long as they do one thing to say, hey, this happened, then
Sure.
the disciplinary action would be off the table.
Madam Chairman, I move the changes as printed.
Second.
A motion and a second.
That's advertised. Yes.
Well, it's still advertised.
Still advertised.
So we're just trying to make the changes here tonight. Everything here is just for, y'all to make sure that you read through the policies. If you have any input on these policies or any more, that's just like second reading.
So with a change like that, we're not starting the clock back over, so
That's
we're
right.
good. That's all I want to make sure.
I do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes to advertise.
The only other change that we had from our original policies that we brought to you is that, if you remember, medical marijuana policy had a TBD next to it. And I gave it a number of 5.151. And the reason for that number is that that will fall right after our board policy on dispensing medicine at school. And, you know, we feel like medical marijuana falls within that realm. It's a little different. It does fall within the realm of dispensing medicine at school. And so this policy would fall right behind that other policy. The policy itself has not changed, we just gave it a number. Other than that, we have no other policy changes from the original. I know you've had time now to read and look over these things so we can discuss anything else that you may have had or run into, or questions, or any concerns that we can address now before we get to the final vote in December.
Is medical marijuana is never in vape form or anything like that, correct?
No, it's
Drop, pill.
yeah, it's very specific as to how it can be dispensed.
It's not in jail.
The parent has to bring it. It's not kept at school. It can't be anything that's time released. But as far as
It is H. It's 3H.
Counselor, maybe you can answer this question, maybe this isn't a question. So if someone was to move from a state into Florida and had a card from another state, is there other rules other states go by?
It's a hodgepodge of what other states are allowing.
Okay.
Some states are essentially decriminalizing.
Correct.
Some are going to what looks like full legalization except for federal law. Some have variations of medical marijuana. These are all creatures of state statute. So whatever's happening in Colorado, California, or Washington does not apply under the Florida statutory scheme. Just
Just
like
trying to head off any loop around or anything like that to make sure, so.
So just like the federal government has not taken action to recognize Florida's statutory scheme, Florida has not taken taking action to recognize any other state's statutory scheme. We can get into nuances about names. We'll try to make creative arguments about Americans with Disabilities Act, therefore, they might have some rights that way. But I don't believe that there's any Florida case law that supports recognizing another state's medical marijuana.
Thank you.
And then, I mean, I haven't had anyone ask, and I've read, but have we had any calls or anyone asking or any concerns about this?
Only the Department of Education.
Yes.
Saying we need to have this policy.
Saying we need to have it by December.
Right.
Must. Might be.
Yeah.
Must.
Must. Right. It's a priority for
But it does say non-inhalable in the
Yeah,
policy.
and you can see down there at the K where,
Right.
K, check what you did, so they,
Okay, and those were- so we don't need to vote on that because there's no changes on that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's, I mean, if you guys don't have any other questions or concerns, then,
Any other questions?
you know, we'll bring this back to the board again, or, in December for final approval. Now we'll have completed our required amount of advertising prior to that vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Watt. Okay, item G, our November 25th board meeting, Mr. Superintendent.
yes, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Last time we were here, we talked about, the November 25th board meeting. And what I'm handing you is the current agenda that we have for December 10th. And so if you look at that, we currently don't have any questions or, in line with, so my recommendation is going to, we cancel the December, or the, November 25th board meeting, which is a Monday of Thanksgiving week. And I can answer any questions you have about the agenda that we have here. Our proposed agenda, excuse me.
I move the superintendent's recommendation to cancel the November 25th board meeting.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Dang, I had my heart set. I'm sure there'll be a cake and pie auction that night, so I need to be at, so I appreciate all that will be done today, so.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes to cancel the November 25th board meeting. We will meet on our regular scheduled December 10th meeting. Item H, the minutes. Are there any changes?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 13th board meeting?
So moved.
Is that correct? August 13th?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is
It'll be the October.
October 22nd, I think
Right.
it was. Sorry,
All right.
I will make that change.
Yes.
Oh, there were no changes to that.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion to approve? Motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda. Everyone's had a chance to look at those, consent agenda. If there's any questions, I'll start with Mr. Etheridge.
Thank you, Ms. Brookins. One simple question, but, and I know we've asked this a lot of times, and I guess we have to advertise, but we hire a person from October 28th, then they resign on October 28th, and the original hire date was October 28th. Why do we even have to advertise it?
Well, they came to work that morning, they worked that morning to decide that job wasn't for them. And so they resigned that afternoon. There we go.
So we have to do all the paperwork, we have to do everything that we, if they stay for 20 years. We have to go through.
The other, of course, looking out through the consent agenda, we can see that evidence tonight, but our people are busy,
Yes.
which is good. And I did notice that Dr. Hall is going to be a presenter at the DOE education strategies
Yes, sir.
next week, yeah, next week,
Yes,
week
sir.
after next.
Next week.
Next week,
Yes.
yeah, don't be late.
I'm on.
And then last on, I guess, the superintendent, district professional learning catalog, can you,
Yes, sir. That is in education, as you know, they like to change names on different things. And it's referenced in here, it's the master in-service plan, and that you approved some time ago. Well, in effect, it's come with 2 additions to the master in-service plan, in which you have to approve. But now they call it the district professional learning catalog. And I don't know why the name changed, but it is. And I don't know, Marla, do you have any comments?
No, sir, we just got the directive that they were changing the name, so they're trying to use them.
they're gonna have to go with the hard acronym for that.
So it's just
So
more things are available.
So with this, can I piggyback off here, just because this is part of my question too. How does that add on, how does that work? Is that then like in service during, that they have to go, a teacher
They
would
do
go
the
through? and-
coursework, yes, sir, they do the coursework, they have to earn so many points, and then that is added, they go through our department, and we have that added onto their schedule.
Gotcha. Sorry.
That's all, that's all.
Good.
That was my question to you. That was my one question, so that was answered. I'll go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Gallant?
I'll direct your attention to A6, our dean starting last Monday. Everybody was anxiously awaiting him, so he's also going to be the boys' basketball coach. Looking forward to him being at Cedar Key, and it's always good when you can have another male on campus to kind of help provide some guidance for our young men. And so he's got quite a resume, being a top gun, and has Cedar Key ties, so looking forward to him being there. So, and then, not to single you out, so I'm just curious, we talk about this all the time. So I see number 4, Ms. Chase is leaving at the end of the semester, which I appreciate so much. But then we have other teachers that choose to leave. And I know that there's certain things that happen. I just wish it feels, and this is my personal opinion, so like our contract is a one-sided contract, so, and I'm not, there's no malice here, but I just don't understand why I have a contract. And I guess, so,
Well, just for conversation.
yes, that's
You know,
it.
In the state of Florida, first off, it's all year at will, either side. Okay? But there are other states that choose to say, if you break your contract, then we're going to take your certificate. For example, South Carolina. And so that keeps people from resigning within a year, I guess, without just cause. But I know we've dealt with that before too. So, but right now, from our standpoint, from the guidance that we get, there is no recourse out there. And there's some legitimate ones, like this one. Here's a legitimate reason why she's doing this.
And that's why I said there's no malice here or no, I guess I just would like us to come to some type of understanding, you know, and I realize that there's unforeseen things that happen, but I so appreciate Ms. Chase staying to the end of the semester, because I know what a harm it does for our students, because, you know, if that's, we're here for students, you know, that's what our mission is, to be here for students. Why would you not go to a perfect stopping point the semester? So, and like I said, there's
We'll
no,
investigate, but to my knowledge, there's not anything that we can do, because we've consulted with the Department of Education.
and I don't want it to be a gotcha, because at the same point in time, you don't, I mean, if somebody's there, if they're not going to give 100%, it's also, that hurts our kids too. So, and so I say all these things, so hopefully maybe Ms. Carson, we can just have some conversations, so to figure out a way
I spoke with PBS about this, and they said that only in a case where we could prove that there was severe damage done to students, health and safety, academically oriented background, with the teacher leaving early or just leaving their classroom, breaking their contract. So they said normally they don't even look at these because they said it just has to be a severe case of something.
But how is it not severe if it's, you know, and once again, I'm not singling anybody out here, I mean, because we go through this, but it's just a thing. I mean, if a teacher leaves mid-semester, no matter what, I mean, unless it's like a week before or something like that, how is that not detrimental to our students? I mean, are we, you know, we know there's a, well, we say we know, so those that are in education say that there's a teacher shortage. Some other people say there isn't. So anyways, sorry, I'm doing board comments here. I'll stop.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Certainly understand. Thank you very much. I've gone over all my comments, so any questions from the superintendent? Do I hear a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
I
Any opposed? Motion passes for the consent agenda. Item J, superintendent's comments.
And I've got quite a few tonight.
Okay.
First off, I have an email here from Mr. Hasbell, and he was, I'm just going to read it to you. It says, he will not be here tonight, but he was contacted by the local 4-H chapter, and the fair rotates between FFA and 4-H each year, about the board renewing their ad with the fair book this year. Would you mind finding out if we, as in the board, would like to run ad again this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one of the things, and this was brought to me by Ms. Brookins at the Peace Feast, which I thought was a great event. Thank you again, Ms. Brookins. So it was a great event, wonderful. It's my favorite thing to do. About the board coming up, and you know, all the schools have standardized shirts, and if you go to like the sheriff's department or the county commissioners, if y'all would entertain the idea, if you would like to have some shirts
Our logo.
with the logos and everything on it.
Our board members,
Yes, sir.
it's a big sport, but I would think that would be very nice so that we could identify. I think we ought to like chairman and vice chairman also.
No, it changes, so we
Does that need to be in the form of a motion?
No, sir, I'll-
We're gonna pay for it anyway. I'm
Yes,
sure.
you're on. So, and we'll get some samples out. I'll send you out an email, and you can kind of direct me, and I'm sure that, you know, we want to coordinate with Laura, but I'm just know from ordering stuff around here that Paul's Church not made equal for men and women. So,
As long as they're red, we'll be in good shape.
so I'll get somebody around here to help out with that, like Marla, or,
Somebody from the Wilson area.
so, also, I've got some good news and bad news. I don't know if many of you talked to Jonathan Lewis this week or not, but he did a presentation here a couple months ago about different things that the coalition has been doing. And one of the things that the coalition has done is they've applied for behalf of our schools for 2 21st century grants. The good news is we received one of those grants. The bad news is we did not receive 2. So this year, or starting next year, it'll be the schools that are going to be in the 21st Century Learning Grant will be Wilson Elementary School, Rossville High School, and Chiefland Elementary School. And also my conversation with Jonathan is that he does plan, these also has plans to resubmit for next year and include some options for Cedar Key. So he wants to come do a presentation to the board sometime. But that's certainly good news for our kids because it's going to be a lot of after school, a lot of after hours opportunities, not just learning wise, but for kids to do social skills and a lot of other things that we don't get to do all the time. So good opportunity.
Mr. Addison, would that include the school that is the 21st century grant this year, or just the ones you mentioned?
It's the 3, it's Wilson Elementary School, Bronzeville High School, and Chiefland Elementary. That's the grant that was approved. And so he's going to be reapplying next year with others. Okay?
Do those start next year? Is that how it works? Like we get the money July 1 or do they start mid-year?
I don't know if they're on a fiscal year, I would think they're on a fiscal year.
I'll find out at our next.
Right, well, I believe they are. It's a federal grant. And so, and a lot, I can tell you from having to administer one of these before in the past, there's a lot of documentation associated with it, a lot of it. Secondly, talk strategic plan update, and we're going to have some, hopefully a board workshop here in probably January or February on a strategic plan. But one of the things that I've been talking with you a little bit about our schools, and you'll see it on the, we will have a serious conversation tomorrow with our administrators, but I do have a commitment on our schools for having this. So that's good.
We're gonna have a what?
An Abbott school district.
Oh, yes.
So, in other words, trying to bring Abbott to all of our schools. So we talked to every one of them. There's lots of groundwork and plan that's to be done. But certainly if that, we can get that commitment, we'll certainly bring it to our strategic planning group on the academic achievement. And everything that we do in Abbott is supports every strategy that we do. You know, certainly if we want to have that financial commitment, we need to do it on the
So everybody agreed to it, all the
Yes.
officials?
Everyone.
Right.
Good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
And I know how each of you speak and feel about that. Lastly, one other thing we want to comment. One of the things that I did last year, we instituted the Superintendent's Reading Award. And so this year, we went out and had a trophy made. Now, if you look at it, we got some little bitty writing up there. Last year, we had a tie between Chief Elementary School and Williston Elementary School, so we have them there. So I'm going to be taking this around to the schools and showing this off, because this is available for all of our schools to win. And they just have to read. And so we'll be taking this, so this will spend part of this year at Chief Elementary School and part of Williston Elementary School until next year, and we'll figure out where it goes from there. But this is something that we're trying to do to encourage reading in our classrooms. Our students like it, they do a good job. And so I'm trying to drum up a little competition out there. And so we've got a big trophy, and I guess you can call this our real Levy Reading Cup. And so that's what it's about. And lastly, on the agenda that I passed out, you'll notice that for the December 10th agenda, you'll see an item that's on there. We are required to have a policy on best and brightest. Okay? Now, everything that you vote on is a policy. The student code of conduct is a policy. So we already have drafted up a policy for us. So what I'd like to have is between now and December 10th, a short workshop for y'all to sit down and look over what we have, talk about it before we bring it to you as a policy.
Before December 10th,
Sir?
before December 10th.
So you asking for a date?
Well, we'll get with you on a date. I'll have to communicate with y'all on a date. But it will be a short board workshop just to work on this. I think it would just help you and help all of us to sit down. Or do y'all have like any preferred times or dates?
Whatever suits Ms. Brookins, I'm good with.
Okay, let's see. We've got the school board conference coming up first week.
So we can do it. Yeah, we can do it next week. Or next week or the.
Retreat? How do, does other boards have retreats and stuff that goes on?
Does it count?
December 2nd would be a good day.
Monday.
It's a Monday. And I suppose if we do it on December 2nd, we do it sometime early afternoon. Or late morning, either way.
Just
It's not first thing or last thing.
I can do a second, everybody else is open?
Yeah.
Second workshop.
Yeah. Since we're over here, that's a good day for us.
Okay.
Either late morning or early afternoon. First, something like a 1 o'clock,
Thanks, Ryan.
11 o'clock.
11,
Okay.
that's fine.
Will that work for y'all?
What time is it?
March 11 o'clock on December 2nd.
Sure.
We'll get it out there. We also will be having, in February, we'll have a workshop that schools will come to you, probably in February. We'll have to wait till we get our data. So you'll have a data review with all of our schools as well. So we'll have a couple of those things.
Okay.
But I think this will allow a lot of good discussion, and you understand the plan. Because it's not easy.
Any other comments?
That's it?
Thank you very much. Board comments, and we'll start with Mr. Etheridge.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. I don't have very many tonight. It's that time of year where we're kind of wrapping up seasons and starting new seasons, and I'm excited about cooler weather. And I'm going to do this out of good sportsmanship, but congratulations to the Chief of Indians. We'll let you please take care of that cup.
Thank you, Mr. Etheridge. What a-
It will not stay, it will not stay there long, so.
Breezy, he did good, didn't he?
I did. Be good sportsmanship.
Thank you.
That's the only comments I had. I'm going to leave them right there. Thank you.
I just have a couple of things. Turkey bingo in Yankeetown on November 19th from 6 to 8, which is a way to get back to the community and provide baskets and food, and it's just, I haven't had the opportunity to go, but I'm going this year, and Ms. Hurst said it was a really neat event. And also there's an FFA yard sale on November 23rd and 24th, 8 to 12. Same weekend, I think it's a seafood festival, right? Chris? But
Yes.
Right.
Third, 21st.
so will be split. But, and this person's also going to the NEPEC workshop to, about Avid. And just to speak a little bit on that, I am a firm believer in Avid. I think it kind of started, we talked about this in the student achievement breakout room, it kind of started as a program for kids that may not have parental support or may need an extra push, and it's turned into something great at Williston. I've seen it personally through my kids' friends, and then my children aren't in it, but they'll come home with Avid notes, just a way to organize, and I just think it's only fair for all of our schools to have Avid programs. So I am very excited that we'll all be in the same boat, in equal playing field, so that's exciting news. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Powell.
Once again, thank you to Mr. Etheridge for hosting the Beast Feast. It was a wonderful success. So, don't have the final numbers, and we've got a meeting next week for final numbers maybe. But appreciate everybody's attendance and everybody that cooks and eats and buys cakes and buys raffle tickets and whatnot. So, you know, there's the cake auction goes towards literacy. That's what it's earmarked for. And we've been able to kind of go and do some nice things. So I think last year we helped provide the books for Battle of the Books was one of the things that Literacy Project did. So, but then the Beast Feast itself helps provide scholarships through the foundation. So, and also kicks into the teachers' grants and all that. So, November 26th is the Cedar Key Junior Class Cake and Pie Auction, annual auction. So, would love for us to buy something down there together. So, and if that would be the pleasure of everybody. So, and then we did buy a cake at the Beast Feast. So,
Oh, we did.
so yes, we did. So I think, did we get a bill come in?
Paid it.
Okay, so, all right. I'll make sure, so, because I didn't see it get sent to me, so I asked her.
Checked it out last week.
shoot to send, so. I mentioned about our dean, so basketball season is upon us. I think the girls are playing tonight, I think, in Trenton. So, so I know that season is kind of started. And also, I think Levy County was well represented at the FFA National Convention. And we had some kids, current students and former students who represented us on stage. And I think back fondly to the day that I was able to walk across the stage and get my American Farmer degree, and I know there's quite a few of our kids that able to do that after they graduated. And it's just a wonderful thing for an organization that really lays a good foundation and gives people a good basis. So and that's about all that I have. So,
And thank you, Ms. Perkins, for bringing the lunch out.
yes.
Let a good dirty class up
It's
and
delicious.
non-glory job.
As long as everyone enjoyed it. So, that was great.
They did, so.
Just have a few comments. I had a question about the Focus Center and the schools. Do we have cameras in all of our Focus Centers?
Yes.
Okay, so, and in Chiefland, do they have a camera? Because it was reported that we do not have one.
They have one where they were supposed to be unless they moved.
Yeah, that's something we move, we have some, we move, we installed two today in the chief one, in the new Focus Center. But, always a but, getting the cameras in is part of it. Now we've got to get the switches and the programming to have them because they run off the internet and they've got to be programmed, so the hardware's installed. Then now technology has to get involved and get the programming. So
Okay.
that's where we're at with that.
Right, okay. And then, just like Chris mentioned, Cedar Key has a pie auction. I know that Chiefland, they have their pie auction, and it's always right before
Thursday the 21st.
Thursday the 21st,
And there's
yes.
actually one in Williston also, with a chili cook-off.
Right, so if we're gonna do one in Cedar Key, we need to do one in Chiefland and Williston. And be fair about it. And Cameron's not here to talk about Bronson, so.
Christmas tree.
Yeah, I saw that, they're doing Christmas trees, so if you would like to do one for the Chiefland one, and I think we have done that in the past. Everybody want to do that one? And then Williston too?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and do that.
Where are these cakes going? Who gets these cakes?
Whoever's there buying.
Whoever's there buying them. Yes,
If we have, well, usually if we have board meeting, then like, they'll bring,
right.
so we have.
But I'll bring the Chiefland one
A
to you if you
whole lot
want
of
it.
cakes I've never seen.
Yeah, that's right, a lot of things I've never seen.
Probably be glad I didn't.
Right. Right, now, when is the Thanksgiving meal? I think I have that down on the calendar for the eat at the school, 21st? The 21st. So if we can attend any of the schools or something and eat the Thanksgiving meal, that would be great. And I think that that's all the comments I have. If there's no other business,
Yep, after we adjourn. But I will make a comment on Ms. Lindsay's remark about Christmas trees. If you want a live tree, there's not a better deal or a better tree to have than
Yeah,
a process of
good deal.
Christmas trees.
That's where I've got my Christmas tree the last 5 years, so it's.
so we are going to adjourn this meeting and then have another short meeting. Meeting adjourned.